Born Hamilton Howard Fish in 1870, the man who would become known as Albert Fish cast a long and terrifying shadow over America. His name would become synonymous with unspeakable acts, his crimes a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most ordinary-seeming individuals. Fish's life and crimes offer a chilling glimpse into the mind of a predator, a man driven by compulsions he himself may not have understood. Fish's reign of terror spanned decades, his victims ranging in age from young children to the elderly. His crimes, often marked by sadism and cannibalism, shocked a nation already reeling from the anxieties of the early 20th century. To understand the depths of Fish's depravity, we must first delve into the context of the times, a period marked by social upheaval and a burgeoning awareness of the darker side of human nature. The late 19th and early 20th centuries were a time of great change and uncertainty in America. The Industrial Revolution was reshaping the social landscape, drawing millions to burgeoning cities in search of opportunity. This rapid urbanization led to overcrowding, poverty, and a sense of anonymity, creating fertile ground for crime and vice. Amidst this backdrop of societal transformation, a darker current was also emerging. The burgeoning fields of psychology and criminology were beginning to peel back the layers of the human psyche, revealing the potential for depravity that lurked within. The public was captivated and horrified by tales of Jack the Ripper, whose unsolved crimes in London had gripped the world's imagination just a few decades earlier. Albert Fish's path to becoming a monster was paved with the traumas of a dysfunctional childhood. Born into a family with a history of mental illness, Fish's early years were marked by neglect and instability. His father, a riverboat captain, died when Fish was young, leaving him in the care of his mother, who struggled to provide for her children. Fish was eventually placed in an orphanage, where he endured both physical and emotional abuse. These early experiences left an indelible mark on his psyche, distorting his perceptions of the world and laying the foundation for his later descent into madness. It was within the harsh confines of the orphanage that Fish's troubled mind began to unravel, as he sought solace in fantasies of violence and control. As Fish grew older, his behavior became increasingly erratic and disturbing. He exhibited signs of numerous mental illnesses, including paranoia, schizophrenia, and sexual sadism. His compulsions manifested in bizarre and often cruel ways, including self-harm, coprophilia, and an unhealthy fascination with pain. Fish's descent into madness was a slow and insidious process, fueled by his own internal demons and enabled by a society ill-equipped to recognize or treat mental illness. His troubled mind, warped by childhood trauma and further eroded by untreated mental illness, transformed him into a ticking time bomb, a predator poised to unleash his rage upon the world. Section 5. Unveiling the Monster, Early Crimes and Victims. The full extent of Albert Fish's crimes may never be known, but his reign of terror is believed to have begun in the early 1920s. Driven by his twisted desires, Fish preyed on the vulnerable, targeting those he perceived as weak or easily controlled. His early victims were often young boys and girls, lured into his grasp with promises of treats or toys. Fish's crimes were marked by a chilling cruelty, his actions driven by a perverse need to inflict pain and suffering. He derived pleasure from the terror of his victims, his own twisted desires outweighing any sense of empathy or remorse. The details of his crimes, too gruesome to recount here, stand as a testament to the depths of human depravity. Section 6. Hunting Grounds, A Trail of Terror. Fish's reign of terror spanned several states, his nomadic lifestyle enabling him to move undetected from one unsuspecting community to the next. However, it was in the crowded streets of New York City that he found his most fertile hunting ground. The anonymity of the city provided ample cover for his activities, allowing him to blend in with the masses and prey on the vulnerable. Fish's crimes terrorized the city, his name whispered in hushed tones in tenements and back alleys. Parents warned their children of the boogeyman, a shadowy figure who preyed on the innocent. Little did they know that the monster they feared was all too real, a predator lurking in their midst. Section 7. The Noose Titans, The Pursuit of a Killer. As Fish's crimes escalated in their brutality, law enforcement agencies across the country intensified their efforts to bring him to justice. The case of the missing children, their disappearances often shrouded in mystery, captured the attention of the public and the media alike. The pressure mounted on police to find the perpetrator, to bring an end to the reign of terror that had gripped the nation. The investigation into Fish's crimes was a long and arduous process, hampered by the limited forensic technology of the time. Detectives painstakingly pieced together clues, interviewing witnesses and following leads that often led to dead ends. However, the net was slowly closing in on Albert Fish, his past misdeeds and disturbing behavior leaving a trail that would ultimately lead to his capture. Section 8. Justice Served, Trial, Confession, and Controversy. In 1934, Albert Fish's reign of terror finally came to an end. He was arrested in New York City for the kidnapping and murder of Grace Budd, a 10-year-old girl who had vanished from her home 6 years earlier. Fish's capture sent shockwaves through the nation, his name becoming synonymous with the unspeakable acts he had committed. Fish's trial was a media sensation, the courtroom packed with reporters and members of the public eager to catch a glimpse of the boogeyman who had terrorized the nation. During the trial, Fish confessed to his crimes in chilling detail, describing his methods and motivations with a disturbing lack of remorse. His confessions, often rambling and incoherent, provided a window into his twisted psyche, revealing a mind consumed by darkness and driven by insatiable urges. Section 9. Madness or Method, the debate on sanity. Despite his confessions and the overwhelming evidence against him, the question of Albert Fish's sanity became a central issue in his trial. Psychiatrists called by both the prosecution and the defense offered conflicting opinions on his mental state, debating whether he was a madman driven by uncontrollable impulses or a calculating killer who feigned insanity to escape punishment. The debate over Fish's sanity raged on throughout his trial, highlighting the complexities of mental illness and the challenges of determining criminal responsibility. Some experts argued that his history of mental illness, coupled with his bizarre behavior, indicated a genuine lack of control over his actions. Others, however, pointed to his cunning and meticulous planning as evidence that he was aware of the wrongfulness of his deeds and had chosen to indulge his darkest impulses. Section 10. The Final Curtain, Execution and Legacy. In the end, Albert Fish's claims of insanity failed to sway the jury. He was found guilty of murder and sentenced to death. On January 16, 1936, Fish was executed by electric chair at Sing Sing Prison in New York. His death marked the end of a reign of terror that had haunted the nation for decades. Fish's death, however, did little to erase the horror of his crimes or the questions they raised. His case became a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human heart and the devastating consequences of untreated mental illness. The legend of Albert Fish, the boogeyman who preyed on the innocent, would continue to haunt the nation's collective memory, a cautionary tale passed down through generations. Section 11. Fish's shadow impact on criminal justice. The disturbing case of Albert Fish had a profound impact on the fields of criminology and psychology, prompting significant advancements in criminal profiling and mental health awareness. Fish's crimes exposed the limitations of the criminal justice system in dealing with individuals suffering from severe mental illness, highlighting the need for more effective methods of identification, treatment, and prevention. In the wake of Fish's crimes, law enforcement agencies began to adopt more sophisticated methods of criminal investigation, including the development of early profiling techniques. The case also spurred advancements in the field of forensic psychology, as experts sought to better understand the motivations of violent offenders and develop more effective methods of risk assessment. The legacy of Albert Fish, while rooted in darkness and despair, ultimately served as a catalyst for progress in the ongoing fight against crime and the pursuit of justice.